Well, so where has our 40th birthday present to you gone then?
Well,
Did
that's
not say it's on
now.
the floor.
Oh, no, of course not. It's just been replaced with this one in the downstairs lavatory.
Oh, yeah, I knew you were gonna say toilet. I knew you were gonna say the fucking toilet.
It gets more airplay there.
You put this shitcoin one in there. That one should be above your bed. On the ceiling.
I can always
Your
change
missus
it
can
round.
look at it.
Yeah.
She's living the dream. Gets educated and pleasured at the same time.
Boom, we are back, and you are treated to a full house. That's right. This is the 4Bs, the bullish Bitcoin banter and bullshit, brought to you by Mr. Allin, aka the Trillion Dollar Man, Dr. Evil 10%, aka the People's Champ, myself, Sir Neverlook, aka the Excellence of Execution, and Mrs. No Show, aka No Show, Pod 146. What's going on?
Been a bit quiet in Bitcoin, I think, isn't it? But
Yeah.
the summer.
It's a quiet one. Not really a lot happening. The election is an interesting one, to say the least, I guess, and that will obviously spice up even more so. And I think with the latest debate and Joe Biden saying nothing but saying something, it means that the money print is just going to go crazy because people are going to try and fight for him or whoever his replacement is to stay in office over and above Trump. And then obviously the other side's going to spend even more money to counteract that, to get him out, especially now that he's got immunity.
Yeah, well, I think I don't really follow that much, but the one thing I have taken away from it is a lot of people seem to be pitching this whole idea of vote for us, we're going to change everything, we won't raise taxes. So what that basically means is money print to go burr. Because how are you paying for all these things if the people aren't paying? You're
Yeah.
inflating it, which is a hidden form of tax called inflation. So you are paying for it. It's just that
Yeah.
you won't see more money going out of your wages. It's just that your wages will be worth less. Sneaky and also genius. And why the fuck haven't they always done this for the last 50 years? Because it almost makes me think, why did any politician say they're going to raise taxes? Like, that's the stupidest thing to say
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Just say no tax increase, and then you just instead you
and then
inflate the
blame
supply
it.
of the money by 30%, and that is a 30% tax on everyone anyway. But they
I
don't
mean,
even
you blame it on greedy corporations.
Yeah, you just create an imaginary crisis during the year. You know, you have a war, you have a pandemic, you have a climate crisis, whatever. You spend like £4 on that, and then you go, why is my loaf of bread cost £2 instead of 50p? You're like, oh, remember that thing that we had in the year? It's that's the reason.
I do question it because you're kind of like saying, oh, why bother taxing? But look at Trudeau; he successfully does both. Mass inflation, house prices have gone through the roof, and he has carbon tax upon carbon tax. Sounds like your game is weak.
Yeah, you need a minimum taxation because, as Bukaleli says, taxation keeps up the myth that money has value and the government value that money. So you have to tax in some shape or form because otherwise it breaks the illusion that money has value.
But if you tax for a crisis as well, then you're literally doing double the amounts. Like you can inflate on that crisis, so the carbon crisis, and then you can also tax on it. Trudeau playing 4D chess.
Yeah. Mm. And then the next time there's an election, you can say we're going to reduce taxes by like 2%, but it doesn't even touch the sides because the increase has been 10%.
Absolutely.
I was going to say there's no evidence that he spent any of this money on anything which will take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. It's brilliant.
He hasn't planted more trees.
No, he's done fuck all. It's brilliant.
Oh, you mean then planting trees is nonsense as a combat of climate change?
Exactly. You need to have big concrete factory processing units, which are centralized trees, basically.
Yep.
We learned that a few months ago.
Big, massive, expensive windmills, like 3D printed meat. Basically anything that you can make money out of. Planting trees isn't really a moneymaker, so we'll throw that one in the bin. No. The way that the planet is self-sustaining, it's sustained its CO2 and oxygen cycle for however many billion years we've been around. No, that is not the solution. Invest in my business.
What's your
Concrete
point?
buildings, plants up the side.
Yeah. Well,
Why do you need plants when you can just have a concrete carbon processing unit?
They're plastic anyway, aren't they?
Yeah. I have seen those buildings with plants up the side. I half like the artistic kind of architect's vision of it, but then whenever you see it in reality, it's obviously just a mess, full of bugs. Half the plants are dying.
Yeah. I was just about to say the plants are dead.
Yeah, because who's watering those things like every other day in the summer?
The hose.
Yeah, it's like fucking 12 stories up. Like, good luck watering that. You're gonna trust the residents to water it? That ain't happening, is it? They leave
3
that
days
for
no rain and there's a hose pipe ban
A
anyway.
nearby neighbor has done exactly the same, and I thought, why would you do that? You're limiting yourself from opening the windows because of the bugs that are in the vines and it's just like, I don't get it.
trees grow on the ground for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
leave them down there. Not bringing the trees up here. They don't want to be up here, and we don't want them up here. Jesus Christ, that was a good little rant. All right. Should we start with stories, eh?
Let's start.
Yes, please.
So we got Peter Thiel here. Yeah, I'll play the clip. I mean, it's quite a good one.
But then there, probably the part where I'm less convinced of is this question of the sort of ideological founding vision of Bitcoin or these cryptocurrencies as sort of a cypherpunk, crypto-anarchist, libertarian, anti-centralized government thing. This is always the line.
Isn't that what got you interested in the first place?
That's what I thought was terrific about it. And then the question is, does it really work that way? Or has that thread somehow gotten lost? And so when people in the FBI tell me that they'd much rather have criminals use Bitcoin than $100 bills, it suggests that maybe it's not quite working the way it was supposed to.
Have you sold any of your Bitcoin?
I still hold some. There are all these ways I didn't buy as much as I should have, and I'm not sure it's going to go up that dramatically from here.
From here?
Yeah, I think we got the ETF edition, and I don't know who else buys it quickly from here.
Some interesting investment advice. That actually surprised me because I don't think I've heard you. I thought you were still all in.
I still have a small position. It probably still can go up some, but it's going to be a volatile, bumpy ride. And I had a dual reason. One was this sort of ideological, decentralized future of computing world that I really do believe in, really believe would be better. And it seemed like the perfect vehicle for that for such a long time. And I am just much less convinced of that. And so
interesting.
So maybe Larry Fink with the BlackRock ETF surrendered to the forces, the anti-ESG forces, or maybe it's more like Bitcoin's been co-opted by them, and I worry it was more the latter.
Okay, different question. SpaceX.
So Peter Thiel, since the dawn of time, really, has been a big Bitcoiner. And for anyone that doesn't know who Peter Thiel is, by the way, he's one of the co-founders of PayPal, along with Elon Musk. So him and Elon Musk were best buddies. They kind of fell out during the PayPal days because they both wanted to be CEO. Peter Thiel won the battle. Probably one of the very few that won the battle against Elon Musk. So Elon just fucked off and went, I'll do something else, and just did these little things called Tesla, SpaceX, and Neuralink, and freaking whatever else. Peter Thiel
Boring company, and yeah.
Yeah, if this became the richest man in the world. Well,
Yeah.
but you couldn't get the CEO job. So if anything, like if you don't get that job one time, it ain't the end of the road because Elon couldn't be CEO of the company he helped found with Peter Thiel and became the richest man in the world a decade later. But yeah, Peter Thiel's obviously a very, very intelligent guy, been a big Bitcoiner since day dot. And then yeah, in this interview, he pretty much goes, because Bitcoin now is largely on an ETF, a lot of the kind of the buying volume is coming through that, through BlackRock, through Larry Fink. He's basically going, a lot of the principles that he believed Bitcoin could do have been co-opted by the elite, by the state, essentially. So he thinks that there's some room for growth in the price of Bitcoin, but nothing massive, which is a complete flip. You can see the interviewer going, this is new news. Like every time he's been interviewed about Bitcoin, he's like, it's the new form of money, separating money from state. He's completely changed his mind since the ETF. What do we think?
It was one of the things everyone always said, like, about not getting too excited about the ETFs over. Is it a bit of a red herring? Is it a bit of a false flag? Is it actually a good thing for Bitcoin? Does it go against the core principles of what Bitcoin is? And I think a lot of people ran away with just price go up, price go up, price go up, without thinking about actually will it A, go up, or is it just another way that they can actually control the price? I think it was always one of the hesitancies I had when I thought about it, is that why I bought Bitcoin in the first place? Because it might be on an ETF. No. It's nothing like that. So
it's a step, but I think it is, like it is the Trojan horse, isn't it? It's like the it's the rumors that BlackRock haven't been buying all the Bitcoin, which they should do, but basically they're creating a paper version of Bitcoin. And so we end up with a market manipulated by one company. Because I know there's different companies with their different ETFs, but it's probably all BlackRock owned. So it is something to be very wary of. Like they can manipulate the market, and it's also a Trojan horse into something which is a threat to money through one of the companies which is mysteriously owned through a series of ways back to the Bank of America and back to that family which must not be named.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's an iteration of Bitcoin, and we are still so early into the entire journey of what is Bitcoin. So the fact that they've bought into it at this period of time, we just have to let it play out. It's not something that was obviously ever thought of in the beginning, but we'll see.
But it's that risk that Ross just touched on there. We know, or we suspect, the exchanges are doing it with that. Are you actually holding the Bitcoin one for one? If I take my Bitcoin off, have you actually got the reserves? If everybody was to turn around and do that, it's that on steroids, isn't it now?
And it's also, they create a financial market where it's hard to get your money out, just like pensions and so on. So it's locked in. And so that money which you got invested into Bitcoin isn't your money, it's BlackRock's. And so if BlackRock have got a hold on the Bitcoin supply, they can dictate what happens to it. So if they start earning 3 million coins or something, when they've got bordering on 30% of the supply, haven't they? Sorry, not 3 million, that'd be not enough. But anyway, you get my point, that's 15% roughly. But say they've got 3, 6, whatever it is, they're going to have a good mark on the supply. Oh, but they don't own it. They do, because it's in their custody. It doesn't belong to the punters. So therefore, they've got a say. And they can manipulate the market with it. And that's the danger, that they are the Trojan horse, which you didn't want near this.
Yeah, I mean, my take on this is, I mean, Peter's just gone a little bit too far with this. Like, Bitcoin is now not the ETF. Like, the ETF is just, if anything, just the financial markets catching up, and there's a huge desire for the mass market to be exposed to the price appreciation that Bitcoin can provide. And we knew the second we were doing it, the second BlackRock came in with an ETF, we all just went, oh, now it's getting approved. Yeah, the same dozen companies have been applying for the last decade to have an ETF approved, and they all got denied all the way through. And the second BlackRock came in, we're like, well, now it's getting approved. And so
575 to 1.
Yeah. So they didn't knock the one, did they?
No.
One stayed. And whoa, imagine if we could bet on that. Imagine the betting market.
Yeah, yeah.
What are the odds on an ETF? I bet the odds on an ETF, you'd have got like 200 or 300 to 1 all the way. Then the second BlackRock's name dropped, it would be 1 to 300 now. Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's not worth betting on. So we knew that BlackRock are manipulating the game. We knew the second they entered, the ETF was going to get approved. We also knew, just as they have manipulated the price of gold, there's a chance they're going to try and manipulate the price of Bitcoin. And it's worked for them because the ETFs got approved. All doesn't got approved, but 85% of the buying kind of liquidity has gone to BlackRock. They've scooped up all the ETF liquidity by and large. And yeah, and because we haven't seen huge price appreciation since the ETF, you go, there's something going on there. And almost definitely they have not been buying the amount of Bitcoin they should be buying. It just doesn't add up. That the price should be probably double what it is now if BlackRock had been buying it. But whilst this is a risk and whilst this is annoying, the people buying Bitcoin through a pension fund on BlackRock ETF, they're buying it in the wrong place anyway, right? They're buying a shit coin, essentially. This is like all the money going into Doge and Dink Doink and all that kind of bullshit, right? And you go, oh, that money could have really helped Bitcoin and you could have really progressed your financial freedom. But instead you spent it in the wrong place. Now these people are buying Bitcoin, but buying the shitcoin version of it. So hopefully, and we just need to really make sure that everyone that we know and people that are listening to this do not buy the Bitcoin ETF. Go onto a proper Bitcoin exchange, buy your Bitcoin, and take custody of it. If we keep doing that, the ETF is fucking irrelevant. Like, let them just keep plowing in like a fucking 4 trillion into this Bitcoin ETF, right? And the price just stays flat. Yeah. Our market cap has gone up by 8x, and then the price is just fucking stagnant. That clearly exposes the fact they are not buying Bitcoin behind it. They're just pretending it. And so the way to punish that, and it's what I think we talked about last week, we could bankrupt BlackRock by doing this. Well, we could make a little dent in them because it's probably impossible to bankrupt BlackRock because they literally own everything. But if they are not buying Bitcoin behind this ETF, then they are exposing themselves to upside risk. So if the price of Bitcoin shoots to $1 million and those people want to sell some of their pension funds, they've got a load of people that brought in at 50K and want to sell at $1 million. They don't have the asset that went up. So they're holding an asset that did not go up that 20x. So they are 19x in the hole that they're going to have to fork out themselves. So clearly they're next to the money printer, like they don't really give a shit. They can just they can fund it. So they know they're not going to go bust, but at least we can hurt them. At least we can cause them some pain and cause them some embarrassment. But don't buy the Bitcoin ETF. The Bitcoin ETF is not Bitcoin. It's literally the antithesis of Bitcoin. It's the opposite of self-custody, opposite of separating money from state. This is the most statist version of fiat you can get, which is a ETF pension fund. This is so statist.
So you're telling us you haven't got any?
I'm telling you I haven't got any. Yeah.
So just playing that through, you haven't bought.
I haven't bought the BlackRock.
So my big question is, like, they're looking at approving an ETF in Australia, and it's not an ETF from the UK, it's an ETN, exchange traded note. Would you, and you still have your old company pension, which you kind of like don't use, would you not be tempted to put it into like BlackRock or whatever it is, an ETN?
Well, to be fair, actually, it depends, because if I think there's a real life chance of them manipulating it and then pulling some silly bugger bollocks. But yeah, I think I probably would anyway, because I look at that money and I go, I look at it and go, I'm never going to see it. By the time I get to 55, they're going to have stolen it in some shape or form, either taxation.
Do you not? But you need to put in your pension to retire.
We've spoken about this at length. So
you need your 40% bond investments.
What do you think they're doing with the money that they are not putting into Bitcoin? Just making a profit on it somewhere else?
They're probably putting it into the what you call it, ESG stuff.
I know, like obviously, like that. Literally, BlackRock. Obviously, they don't make investments to make money, right? They are the money.
Yeah.
They create products and they invest in companies for control.
I'll just stick my money somewhere else. Like in
They're
all
looking
honesty,
to
because
control. They want the majority of the Bitcoin buys to happen through their ETF, which means they can control the uncontrollable asset, right?
And manipulate the price, and that's what I believe.
Yeah, well, they're going to kill it.
Also,
But
yeah.
let the price go sideways for 10 years, Bitcoin's dead. And people get bored. So, but it's our job to not let that happen. Because the buying pressure needs to come from the exchanges. Don't let everyday people buy this shitty Bitcoin ETF. It was nice bullish news. Loads of buying pressure seemingly has come through it, but we have not seen the price appreciation, which just shows that, as we suspected, we got because we kind of did go from like 20 or 30K up to like 60 during this whole news. So we did get a nice little double up. But then
Yeah.
once ETF went live, I fully expected like the uptake of that ETF to be really muted and probably take a year to get going. It went freaking crazy from day one and has continued to go crazy. So, but the price has dropped about 10% since ETF went live. You go, these two things don't add up because there's still loads of buying pressure on the exchanges, all this additional buying pressure from the ETF. And the supply, we've had the halving since then as well. So like the halving's happened, the amount of Bitcoin going out into the world has halved. There's a brand new way of buying Bitcoin via this ETF. Literally tens, if not hundreds of billions have been brought through the ETF. The price is down 10%. Doesn't add up.
Could it be the exchanges as well?
What do you mean?
Well, so back to what I was saying before about we know that there have been instances where they're not necessarily holding it one for one for the retail buy. So people buying and leaving it on the exchanges.
I suppose the potential. I'd suspect that like you'd need another FTX type huge exchange to be that corrupt. I think the majority of the ones we have left, which are Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, probably Binance are probably the dodgiest amongst them. But I'm probably other than Binance, actually, I would say that they are relatively legit and they because the thing is like you can buy Bitcoin on any of those exchanges and withdraw it. So you know, it's they seem to be holding the majority of the Bitcoin they say they hold, especially Coinbase. Coinbase are a publicly listed company now, so they literally have reports that says how much Bitcoin they hold, which is 1-to-1. But yeah, it's not good news for Bitcoin. I don't think this whole ETF situation. So I get Peter's frustration, but literally the cyberpunk kind of the revolutionist in us all, like that's still here. Just because you can buy it through a status product doesn't mean we have to. And it doesn't mean that the Bitcoin that we have on our ledgers and jades is worth less just because you can. But yeah, we all know that like you buy Bitcoin in the ETF, I value that at zero largely until you sell it and get that money back out. You know, you leave that in there for long enough, they will steal it in some shape or form. They will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put it onto your own self-custody. And now I value that Bitcoin, that one Bitcoin at one Bitcoin. Congratulations, you have a Bitcoin. You know, and at some point I hope to trade with you. But don't give custody away to anyone. And especially not cheap. BlackRock. Like, we did a whole show on BlackRock back in the day where they are like the evilest company in the world. And now they are supposedly the most trusted custodian of your Bitcoin retirement fund. And you go, don't fall into that trap.
Those two things do not add up.
No.
Well, we're not buying dink bugs. Maybe we're safe there.
Yeah.
Well, it leads us on quite nicely to our next story. which does add up. So let's say the ETF has happened. Will the ETF and what's been happening with the ETF in terms of the price manipulation from the likes of BlackRock actually play through? Because in Q3 of Bitcoin and the halvings and the epochs of each 4 years, from July onwards, there's been a spike in the price and a significant spike each and every time. So have you got it on screen? Yeah, awesome. I was just looking at mine. So it shows here that at these various integers, each time it's gone up and up and up. And so who's to say that this one won't be any different, especially because of the amount of funds and the market cap that Bitcoin is at currently right now. So what do you think? Is it going to happen? Is hyper Bitcoinization the time 2024 onwards?
It looks like it flies a bit later on this. I know they've pointed out July it's a start, but it starts flying a few months after, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Looking at the kind delay. I mean, my problem is it's another model, isn't it? Like I'm like, it's a model based on past performance. I'm like, doesn't mean anything.
You're right, it doesn't mean anything, but and we've also been through a lot of turbulence throughout the years as well.
I always get a little bit suspicious about these log charts as well. If you look down the right hand side, this doesn't go up proportionally, right? It goes up exponentially. 10, 100, 1,000, 10K, 100K, 1 million. Right?
Yeah.
So if Bitcoin does what this chart is proposing, which basically goes up to the next line, largely, pretty much. So we're just below the 100K line. So what this model will predict if we do what is proportional on this logarithm-based chart, straight to a milli. Forget 100K. 100K is just like, that's the first little go of the pump. So I'm always a little bit skeptical of these charts because I would prefer it just be a little bit more sensible on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Because there's pretty much like, oh yeah, we either go to 10K or 1 million, they're the same distance away. And Jesus, like that's that's a big span of potential price fluctuation.
I wonder what it would look like if that right-hand side was proportional.
Yeah, it's
It'd be very hard to make out the left if it's proportional.
That's why they do it. It's why they do it because back here, because the price on the left-hand side was between $10 and $100, essentially once now the price is 50K, it's just flat. So you see nothing. All the ups and downs are just it's between $10 and $1,000 and you can't see it. So you do logarithm to allow the beginning of the chart to have its correct form, because that was where if we're doing a price chart, back in 2013, you would have done it just up to 1,000. You wouldn't have cared anything more. So yeah, it's the flat looks completely flat and then just goes straight up to 50K if you do it without doing logarithm. But yeah, I just figured to throw this story in because I think there's a little bit of this, and it might be happening to Peter Thiel as well. Even he's probably not immune to it, which is we've been going sideways for a little bit now. It's getting a little bit boring. We haven't really gone massively over the all-time high, like notably past it. We went a little bit past, and then we kind of pulled back. There was no massive fall. I think he's just getting a little bit bearish. I think everyone's getting a little bit tired. And really, when you look back at the chart, and I know I'm one of the biggest haters of charts and models and but when you actually do reflect and go, okay, where in the cycle are we? We're before the pump.
Yeah.
The pump shouldn't have even happened yet people are going, oh, the pump's not happening. We've been waiting ages. So actually, when you look at the 4-year cycle, it shouldn't even happen for a couple of months yet. So why is everyone getting bored?
Yeah, he did sound quite tired in his voice in terms of and his sentiment of Bitcoin having sold a position in Bitcoin as well. And so it kind of felt like this should have happened already, and yeah, kind of done with it,
I
having been
mean,
in so early.
we can get bigger gains in some altcoins, can't we?
I swear there's a shitcoiner in him. He wants
Loves
to.
it, doesn't he?
He loves it. He loves it.
But
There's a
how
fat
we-
virgin shitcoiner inside.
Oh, no, stop.
I was going to say, like, all these people I know are in altcoins, they never make a loss. They're always making profits. It's a flawless system, boys. Let's go.
Yeah, it's like people that put accumulators on William Hill every week, isn't it?
I'm afraid
Yeah.
to
Break
machines,
even, mate. Break even.
Break even.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Break even. Yeah.
They never lose on the fruity either.
Yeah, I'm a couple $100 up, mate.
Yeah.
Easy money.
You hear about that one accumulator where they were that one result away from 30K.
Yeah. So you were one away then. You
Yeah,
lost.
but it was only £1. It was only £1.
Oh. Sweet.
So we will come back to it, won't we? As always. I mean, we don't like to really talk about price, but naturally, if there's a pump, we can come back to 146 and talk about it. And I guess that's what we do. You know, all of these are small recordings along the timeline of what is Bitcoin, and you know, you can either call us out, not that we even make a prediction on it, but just simply say it's a timestamp, isn't it? Today, Pod 146 is a timestamp of we said it might happen, and if you were listening and if you were paying attention, we called it out.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I take us back to super early days of the pod, but it was Gaz's rhetoric that got me into it. I just want you to buy some because the price will go up, but that was just to get you to buy some, and then it was very quickly look at it over 5 years, and then it was like actually look at it over 10 years. That's what you want to look at it, and it's that longer term thinking, and that's why like I assume we don't really talk about price. It's actually irrelevant largely because in the background you can come back to it on a month by month basis and it might fluctuate by whatever it fluctuates by. But it's the 5 year markers that are more interesting. What was it 5 years ago? And then what was it 5 years ago before that?
Even at the beginning of the pod, if we were sat here now going, in a couple of years' time, we'd be at 50K, I think we'd have been pretty happy. It's just that we went to 70K, now we're back to 50K. It's like, it's weird how Bitcoin almost makes you numb to the prices that it is, and you just go, but when a milli, and it's like it looks like potentially in the next cycle we'll probably go in there, and it literally could happen over the next year. We're right at the precipice now. Like according to all the charts that have been laid out, the next 12 months we go to a milli. It's pretty exciting.
We want a trilly.
Yeah, I want a trilly.
Yeah. It's just not how I think about it. When I very, very first bought, like if it dropped by like 3K, I was like, now it could literally half. And I'm just like, oh great, I can buy more cheaper.
I just look at it as, yeah, it's doing its thing. It is what it is.
Yeah, should we move on to some famous celeb that also seems to have matured on his Bitcoin journey? We have Mr. Davey Day Trader Global Portnoy, presented by Kraken, actually, interestingly. And I'll do it.
Will Steve Will Do It's Crypto Hero be another rug? I didn't know he had that. The only crypto anybody should be involved in is spelled BITCOIN. I've learned that the hard way. If you want to try to make quick bucks, do not cry to me if you get rug pulled in any crypto like I did with SafeMoon. You have to know you're probably getting rug pulled going in. It's all a Ponzi scheme, only Bitcoin.
So he's the famous fucking shitcoiner. He used to gamble on everything. He had a bit of Bitcoin. He had the Winklevoss twins round. They confused him by saying that gold has no value because Elon Musk going to mine an asteroid of gold in it. Like, literally, I watched this live stream with him. And I was like, go on, guys. Orange Pill Dave. And literally in the news the day before there was a gold asteroid going around that had more gold, like 10x amount of gold in this one asteroid that was on Earth. And Elon was kind of going, I could probably just land that and drag it over this way if I wanted. I don't want, but I could. They led with that story as to why to buy Bitcoin. And he just went, they're fucking nuts. But I'll buy $1 million worth anyway. And then he ended up selling it like 2 weeks later at a 50% loss. This was down at like 10K days. And it's gone to 50K now. And he was fuming. He was like, oh, I could have made millions. Da, da, da. So the good thing is now it looks like, and then actually, yeah, then he realized shitcoins are where the money's at. Everyone was just putting their name on a shitcoin and it was going to the moon. So he just went, fuck it. I will just get 10 shitcoins, pull one out of a hat, put my name on it and go, I'm all in on this shitcoin. It'll go to the moon. He did that. I can't remember which one it was, what it was called, but he did it. He put like 50K in or something, maybe even more, and it went to zero. And he was really fucked off. And so it looks like he's gone through all that and he's finally come to a place where he's gone, you know what? Crypto's bollocks. It's just about Bitcoin. Just buy some Bitcoin and hodl it. I've learned from my lessons. I've tried trading Bitcoin, I've tried shitcoining, and I've realized just DCA into Bitcoin, hold it for the long term. Hallelujah. Welcome to being a Bitcoiner.
How many years did it take?
Yeah, I was going to say the pain that you have to go through to get to that point, but that could be a good point for a montage because there's probably clips of him going through each of those moments.
Yeah.
Everything I do with Bitcoin, I get in my baby blue eyeballs.
Poor old Davey Portnoy can't catch a break when it comes to Bitcoin. After a rocky start to his Bitcoin journey where he bought and sold within a day before getting lost in scammy crypto projects, and then watching Bitcoin rise all the way to 69K sitting on the sidelines, it seemed he had finally turned over a new leaf as he rebranded himself Diamond Hands after purchasing $1 million worth in early 2022 at around 32K.
Enter SPF, that Looney Tune.
Fast forward to late 2022 and the FTX collapse spooked him a little. It seems instead of cashing out just a little to check liquidity in Gemini, he unknowingly transferred all of his 29 Bitcoin into cash at the absolute bottom of the bear market, where he's been sitting ever since.
I cannot win with Bitcoin. Somebody owes me Bitcoin.
So learn a lesson from old Davey this cycle. Buy, self-custody, and hold long term to avoid getting wrecked.
They're really fucking funny.
Yeah, but we're playing this like it's the end of the story. He's so
he's
fucking
sell
stupid.
It
He's so fucking stupid. He'll do it again. Like, so I don't think this really should be a victory dance because we know what he's like. We know he's an idiot.
At least he's acknowledged that crypto's a scam and Bitcoin is the real deal, though, right?
Yeah.
But he's acknowledged like Bitcoin a couple of times and still cocks around.
Yeah, but yeah, again, I think maybe because he's traded it, but yeah, I know he is a bit he likes to cock around, but
is he gonna go? He's gonna be into DeFi next or something. Then loses Bitcoin, then he'll be back to Bitcoin, then he'll go into something else, and then he'll go back to Bitcoin. He'll just be
yeah, we'll see. There's a load of prominent Bitcoiners in the comments. You got Marty Bent here saying put Barstool's balance sheet on a Bitcoin standard. Jack Mallers, that a boy, progress. But then, yeah, you have the naysayers down here as well. But by and large, it's progress, right? Because before he was going, okay, Bitcoin's the big one. I know that's the safe one. That'll go up nicely, but I want 100x gains in 2 months. Where's that? Where's that? I think he's realized that's a fool's errand.
he should have been
progress, right? We all went through this journey, right? You come into Bitcoin, and to start with, you think Bitcoin, you have to trade it to make money. Then you realize, oh, I'm a shit trader. I know, I'll just gamble on some shit coins instead and let them do the hard work. And you realize, oh, they're a scam. And you go, I actually just need to buy Bitcoin and be patient.
Yeah.
And that seems to be where he's landed.
But like I said, he'll be on something like DeFi next. Like, I just, I've got no faith in him.
He would never get into DeFi. It's just way like for people like Dave, like the
but
DeFi
it's
thing was it's way too complicated. People just want Doge with a hat and
Well, it's
cat with a
not,
hat.
because all you do is you get your Bitcoin, sent to this thing, and you get a guaranteed 10% risk free.
Yeah, totally risk free.
Totally risk free.
Guaranteed, yeah, like 50% APR.
Well, is this the turning, especially again if like back to our other story where we are going to increase in price, where we've seen influencers in the marketplace who we thought were genuine and were like Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And I'm talking about the likes of Pomp and others that, then went on to shitcoin, greed, love, and so forth.
There's a story in my last day actually about another one. Was it Solana? And the inventors or owners been paying influencers, and they released some of them. And what's her name? Leia? Is it Leia? She was
Yeah,
on the list
Leia
again.
Helper. Yeah,
again.
Oh,
This
okay.
was in my last day. Like, it's another
Again,
one that they're just paying influence. So you're wondering why these people are shilling shitcoins. They're
yeah.
being paid.
Oh, yeah, of course. But that's it. You would have thought that their moral compass of going out there saying that Bitcoin is the only thing ever, but then throw a couple of bucks at them and they'll shill anything.
Yeah, but all they are is pretty much prostitutes. It's like Pompey sells fucking beds.
Yeah. But it was a great night's sleep, bro.
Well, it does sound like a pretty cool bed. Like, it has automatic temperature adjusting.
If it's tempted Dr. Evil 10%, any listeners must know straight away, go out and get it.
I know. I was going to say it's like 5-6 grand probably. So not till I'm a trillionaire from Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you can return it free of charge within 100 days.
Yeah.
Even if it's soiled.
Yep. I don't think Dave's doing this though, because Dave doesn't want to be. He's not a fucking Bitcoin influencer. Like everyone you've mentioned up until then, right? They were all nobodies until they came in Bitcoin, grew an audience by being an influencer. Clearly, they're grifters. They're making their money by being an influencer. So of course they were going to sell their audience to the highest bidder, and shitcoiners tended to be the highest bidder quite often because they knew they were going to make tens of millions.
He's a businessman, isn't he? Even if he is an idiot.
Yeah, he owns Barstool Sports. He's done one of the best deals in business history. Like, he sold Barstool Sports for, I think it was 500 million, 500 million to Penn. Who are like a huge kind of media empire. And then Dave Portnoy started talking out against various issues, especially during lockdown. He became toxic to Penn. So they went, we need to sell you off. We're going to look to sell you. And he went, I'll buy it back for $1. And they went, deal. So he sold it for 500 million, bought it back for $1.
Well, he probably didn't get the full 500 million, did he? Because it was probably all like bonuses for hitting X amount of revenue.
He owned at least 50% of it. Like they didn't take any.
Oh no, so it's 250 million, but part of that 250 million would have been conditional on 2 years, and generating X amount of revenue. So you probably got a good proportion of it for free, pretty much. But it wouldn't be the full amount, is what I'm trying to say.
He's betting millions of dollars on random games.
He's going to have 100 million.
He has hundreds of millions. He has like 8 houses. They're all massive. Like the guy doesn't. This is the kind of guy, right? He's famous in his own right. He's a businessman in his own right. He's made his money. He doesn't need to sell his reputation to a random shitcoin for 50
but
bucks.
What about if he believes? What about if he believes in those beds?
Hey, look,
they are temperature controlled.
He still does dodgy ads, but like that's for Barstool. He obviously has to sell ads for his company. So
I think it's human nature though, because did you see the other day where there was an AliExpress advert and it was David Beckham?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you really don't need.
Yeah, but AliExpress is like Amazon. the amount of money which they would have thrown at him for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. But he doesn't really need any more money, does he?
Yeah,
Everyone has
but
a price.
And
it's literally
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's got a price.
Yeah, but say if you set on like, I don't know, 10 million, you've managed to retire, and AliExpress turns around and say, make a tit of yourself in a giant chicken costume, 1 million.
Done.
You go, hell yeah, done. And my
Done.
dignity is right here.
To be fair though, with AliExpress, I'd happily make a tit of myself. I would be much, if I had used a 10 million example, but then go, this is a shit coin, it's going to be a pump and dump. $1 million to shill it, knowing that every single person that follows your advice is getting wrecked. Yeah. Now that's a hard decision.
That's the difference between, I suppose, a consumer good at AliExpress versus financial advice ultimately, because you're endorsing it. You're saying this is good. It's like me turning around and go, you know what, Mr. All-In, I reckon your portfolio shouldn't be 95% Bitcoin. It should be 40% government bonds.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was watching something the other day where it's a guy called Vivek Ramaswamy, and he previously ran for the US election. Young guy, seems really articulate. He was saying what the difference is between a millionaire and then a billionaire. And then he said even like the billionaires are still trying to get more because they're like, well, the jet that you've got doesn't actually get me to Thailand in one sitting. I actually have to then fly to somewhere, refuel, and then go to somewhere else. And the money that I have doesn't allow me to do that. So even in that realm, they're still trying to get more, and there's that one-upsmanship. So it's I guess again one of those.
But I was going to say there are the billionaires who just don't care. But I think to become a billionaire, you have to be very, very focused. And like once you've hit your kind of like goal, you can't stop, can you? Like, you know, you're so focused, you're going to keep on going until you die. Whereas a millionaire is the outcome of being able to retire at the moment. Like literally, that's the difference, isn't it? Like, how can you retire then? Oh yeah, I've managed to retire. Well, what kind of holidays do you want? And then it's next, what kind of cars you want? Oh yeah, I want a Bentley. So it's literally, you've got your kind of like brackets there, haven't you?
I think even at this day and age, if you're getting into that millionaire status, it's then, can I hold that millionaire status because of the rate of inflation?
Yeah. I remember it when I first came into this whole like you start rubbing shoulders with the senior execs and CEOs, and you suddenly realize like you look at them as the richest person you know, and then you enter their world for a little bit, and all they are doing is looking at the other CEOs and going, "I'm not big enough." They've got a boat in Monaco. I don't.
Yeah.
I can just rent one for a month. Well, that's not enough. I want my own boat. And then directors going off to Dubai and staying in the most expensive hotel. And you're like, yeah, well, congrats. Like no one else here can do that, but you're the poorest guy in that hotel. Why would you want to be the poorest guy in that hotel? Why not go to any other hotel, nearly any hotel in the world, and you will be in probably your wealth will be probably the richest in the place. You could have the best suite in that hotel and live like a king. Instead, you would rather have the worst room in the best hotel in the world because you can't get near the top because the top room in Dubai in the Bel Sharif or whatever it's called, that's reserved for the genuine Arab and billionaires. So you're in the little pokey one bed flat down on the first floor. Why would you want to be there when you could be anywhere else in the world in the penthouse? But there's this weird, and it's all about how you view money and power and influence. And
I think that's in a way that Bitcoin kind of like breaks you a little bit out.
It's all nonsense, all that. Like, there's always going to be someone richer than you, so don't try and compete. Just
because
like, get yourself comfortable and
you move into the mind frame. But I want to be better for who I am, not for monetary goods, which I have. Like, I don't want a fast car. I don't want a flashy car. I want to be able to retire. I want a good life. I want a good family. Those are kind of like my goals, and it centers around that kind of good life. And then I suppose fitness as well. Like my fitness obsession's probably got even worse over the last few years.
Yeah, and all that comes down to, by the way, is the number one thing you are buying there is time.
Yeah.
You want to do with your time what you want to do.
Yeah, and you don't want to waste it as well. You want to have some kind of like achievement and like.
Yeah, you don't want to
time
spend
on
10
the
hours a day
fitness.
fucking staring at a screen doing work. Like you'd rather be doing something else. So buying your time back doesn't cost that much. But once you try and buy your time back and then spend more on Ferraris, holidays, houses, now you're in the world of, well, you probably got to work till 60 to fucking afford all that. But if you just want to buy your time back and be able to live a comfortable life, the amount of money you need is nowhere near as much as what most people think.
Yeah, you can go and live in the jungles or forests, I suppose, in the UK, the woods.
I'm not being funny.
Hunting badgers.
Yeah. It really isn't as much as people think, especially if you denominate your wealth in Bitcoin. You just gotta, yeah, you gotta be frugal, but it's possible. It all depends on how much you value the commercial kind of what's it called, materialistic items over your time. And it's a very difficult conversation, really, because a lot of people, they don't think they value their materialistic items over time, but we do.
I was going to say, yeah, there's various things which I'll still get, but there's various things which I'm just not attracted to.
Yeah,
you know, like go and watch. I want to go and watch to record like my health, because you know that's something which I enjoy, something which gives me a sense of purpose. But then I don't want the car, but it's still, I want to buy that. I want to buy this. I want that bit of sports equipment, or I want something for my family. I want a nice holiday. It's still materialistic goods.
Yeah. I know some like families and mums and dads that they're struggling to make ends meet, you know, where I am, and they roll up in a Range Rover into the school car park. Let's go. What are you doing?
Yeah. We talked about it on a few pods ago, didn't it? It's the society and the keeping up with the Joneses and the Instagram generation. And you want that picture for Instagram, and what you don't know behind it is there's 40K's worth of credit card debt, a car loan, a ridiculous mortgage, you know.
Yeah. It's about right. It was my kid's sports day, and I went there, and I feel like I'm an alien. All the dads like kind of look at me and they come up to me and be like, "What did you do today?" And I just go, "Nothing." And they're like, "Oh my God. Oh my," and then they're just like trying to go, "Oh, well, what's this? Like, what's this Bitcoin thing?" And there's actually, I wanted to actually mention this. Actually, I'm glad I mentioned that, because one of the dads, I've been talking about Bitcoin for fucking ages. He mentioned it to me, actually. I think the missus had already mentioned it to his wife, and then he made a beeline for me. And then I was talking about the company I work for, and there's some like dodgy dealings about internal shares and da da da. But anyway, and he just went, "How do you actually buy shares?" And I went, "What do you mean?" As in, like, this is not a publicly listed company, so it's a little bit, yeah, it's a bit of an old boys club in reality, or you've got to be an accredited investor.
Yeah.
He's like, no, like, just if I was going to buy some shares in general, like, how do you do that? And well, you just open up a stockbroker's account. And it's like a bank account, but it's a stockbroker's account, and then you buy shares. You just deposit money, and you just look for the company name, and you just buy it. He looked at me like I was talking Spanish.
How old is this man?
He's about our age.
But the thing is, we are so adverse with it. It's like normal, but it's not normal. And
I suppose that's it. All we do is pension, isn't it? Probably.
Yeah, and it's all
5% into a pension.
And it's all done for you as well, isn't it? Like, you don't, when these people say they do a pension, it's like someone told him to do a pension at some point.
Yeah.
Suddenly,
his company will do 5%. He'll do 5%, but you're probably never going to be able to retire on that.
It goes back so much further than that, though, to the point that they don't teach you any of this shit in school. You either have to go out and learn it yourself, or have a group of friends that are motivated to make you learn it. But you just do not get taught this at any point up until the age of 18, unless you go to university and study it. And even then, you're taught a redacted version of it. So it's just like there are so many people out there that don't understand money, don't understand investing, don't understand inflation. Like if you were to survey, I'd love to do it. Like just walk down the street and ask somebody, what is inflation really? And where does it come from? Like you ask, like, what was that show where they surveyed 100 people and you had to, was it Family Fortunes? You had to pick the answer that no one said. Well, the answer that no one said will probably be the right answer. You know, inflation will be a war in Ukraine and the corn getting burnt. Oh, sound okay, great.
Yeah, it was nuts because it was weird because I'd spoken to him for probably a good hour about Bitcoin. And then it was like probably a month or two ago, that conversation. And then that whole question about, but how do you buy shares? And I just went, what do you even mean? Like, how can you be confused about that? And then the penny kind of dropped for me, really. I went, no wonder none of this Bitcoin stuff's gone in.
Correct.
And no wonder you haven't done any action on it. Your education on money and investing is so limited. You don't have that foundational layer. Like, Jesus, like Bitcoin is unfortunately
it's swimming in the ocean. Yeah.
Right.
That's swimming in the ocean as opposed to the paddling pool in the back garden.
And he's not even got his feet wet yet.
Yeah,
he's still standing on the outside going, oh, it looks a bit cold.
With three rubber rings.
He's putting his trunks on the wrong way around.
Like the Pacific Ocean down here. Dive straight in. And he's like, I'm not even going in the paddling pool. The Pacific, hasn't that got sharks and stuff in it? I'm like, and it suddenly kind of drops you on it. I think, again, this is yet again another recurring theme, I think, where we just go, oh, to get Bitcoin, you need to understand money. You need to be a bit of a technologist. You need to be an economist. You need to be slightly political to understand the state and political. And so many people do not have these foundational items. And at least I think we came into it via the money and investing route. So at least we found that, and then you kind of mushroom out. But so many people don't have any of them. So you can't mushroom from anywhere. It's just like they're just stunted. They keep hitting the wall and coming back to, nah, probably no decision is better than a bad decision. So they stay in fiat world.
Yeah. I told my new company that I'm a Bitcoiner without telling them that I'm a Bitcoiner in a subtle way. So I didn't go for the obvious, because I was doing a profile overview of who I am and what I like, and I talked to them about I'm an avid reader and I like global macroeconomics, and so I've read Layered Money, I've read The Price of Tomorrow, and Broken Money, because I didn't want to just throw in the classic Bitcoin standard. Yeah. I didn't want to do that, so I'm waiting for them to come back to me because they are very pro Bitcoin. I know that they'll be very much into shitcoining as well, but the majority of the revenues is from the crypto exchanges, so they're on board 1,000%.
You're telling me that when you were doing your interviews, the poster over your shoulder didn't give it away?
Yeah. Well, see, this one, I've subtly changed it as well from the other one as well. If you remember the surfer that was there, and then obviously the big B, and then that one obviously does have the B in there as well. But I've kind of, toned it down a little bit just in case, but it's still there.
So where have you got this one from? Go on. You got for this
Sorry, this one, as in this one?
Yeah, that one there, yeah.
Oh yeah, from our classic display.
Okay, you got yet another display. You didn't announce this display per purchase. We have established a very good routine of you have to announce your display purchases.
Yeah, yeah. It's another one. It's a piece of artwork for display for Bitcoin, of course.
See, I haven't looked on display for a while. I
Well,
think
so where has our 40th birthday present to you gone then?
Well,
Did
that's
not say it's on
now.
the floor.
Oh, no, of course not. It's just been replaced with this one in the downstairs lavatory.
Oh, yeah, I knew you were going to say toilet. I knew you were going to say the fucking toilet.
It gets more airplay there.
You put this shitcoin one in there. That one should be above your bed. On the ceiling.
I can always
Your
change
missus
it
can
round.
look at it.
Yeah.
She's living the dream. Gets educated and pleasured at the same time.
Oh.
I knew you were in the fucking toilet.
His face.
I was like, don't say it. Downstairs.
Don't say it.
There's no other room that follows downstairs. There's no downstairs living
there
room.
isn't.
Downstairs kitchen.
Yeah, downstairs kitchen.
Only downstairs fucking toilet.
So you've now got me looking on display again.
You won't make a purchase for 6 months. Shut the fuck
Oh
up.
no, yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Come back with pod
Send it
200.
round. We'll all say they look great, and you'll mull over it for 6 months and finally buy it. Like, we know the cycle.
We buy it,
What happens
for your
first,
50th.
price appreciation or Ross's purchase?
Yeah.
I was going to say that whilst one was a gift, Ross has got another.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
Oh, yeah,
you finally bought it after 6 years.
To be fair to Neville, you do have on the other side of this door, looks like prime position for another bit of artwork.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah,
It's calling out for it.
it is. It is. I'll do it. It's on. It's on.
All right.
So, yeah, next.
It follows on
story.
quite neatly, actually.
It really does. I've got a question before we start this. How long did you last before you threw your phone at the wall?
Oh, about 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah. I struggled through this.
Yeah. I saw it come up on my feed, and I like this guy called Casually Explained. 4 million followers or subscribers on YouTube. He is casually explained quite a few topics to me probably over the years. And then I see the word Bitcoin come up on his feed. I smashed play so fast and so quickly, was so disappointed. So disappointed.
I didn't know if it was a joke at first and I was missing it. Like,
Yeah.
I really didn't. And then
Yeah, so unfortunately, yeah, so let's just I'll share it just so people can see. But yeah, so this guy is he is genuinely massive on YouTube. Like, most of his videos get millions of views. So when I saw that he was casually explaining Bitcoin, I was super encouraged. I was like, this could be fantastic. He has a load of normies that probably are into the whole crypto thing, and maybe he will give them a nice little 10-minute version of Bitcoin that will work for them. But quite quickly, I realized, oh no, he's a hater. He started straight away. We can see here, he's using our memes against him as negatives. And he starts his video with going, oh, when people say research Bitcoin, they mean read the Bitcoin white paper, and it took me 5 minutes. So next time someone tells you that do the work, understand Bitcoin, it means all they've done is read the Bitcoin white paper. And you go, dude, like, what are you even slightly talking about? Like there's dozens of books on Bitcoin. There are thousands of hours of podcasts on Bitcoin. That he even references at some point the Bitcoin Talk forums, yet he only talks about the meme of the guy that was drinking whiskey that invented the hodl meme because he misspelled hold, which, yes, it is hilarious. Yes, the guy was pissed. And he seems to go, that's all he took from the Bitcoin Talk forums. Satoshi himself was on those forums. The amount of knowledge that guy dropped, Adam Back was on there. Peter Todd was on there. The amount of genius level IQs that were on Bitcoin Talk, and he just chose to go, oh no, I'm just going to represent that entire forum with this one drunk whiskey post that where the hodl meme comes from, is so disingenuous. It's unreal. And clearly this guy, like the comments even call him out on it, going, this guy just came into crypto, got wrecked, and now he's salty. That's all it screams to me. It's just really annoying that he's called this casually explained Bitcoin. This should be casually explained crypto. And you didn't get anywhere near Bitcoin, like very clearly, because he goes, there was no, he says he's dug in and gone, there was no one legitimate that would explain Bitcoin to me or was a genuine like source of information that wasn't like a, have fun staying poor kind of person, or there was no collateral available to read. And obviously, there's a dozen books that you could have read that would have educated you on this. You clearly have read none of them. You have not read the Bitcoin Standard. Like, I can 100% guarantee you did not read that. It's just so disappointing.
It's also reading something like Austrian economic textbooks. Why not go into that? Why not go into, I don't know, financial history of money? There's various different books. And like you said, it's a very one-dimensional view, which he's trying to portray as being genuine, where it's not. Like he did Witter on this video. I listened to it, but I can't say I took in most of it.
I really struggled. I struggled past. I got to about 7.5 minutes, and I was like, "Do I really need to listen to the end of this?"
Same.
To the point, like I was like,
Same.
I'm out." So I tapped out at about 7.5, and I was like, "Why didn't I just give up sooner?" Oh yeah, because I need to talk about it later. But fucking hell. Honestly, it's like you said before, you've not casually explained anything. If anything, you've maybe done a little bit of crypto, but so far misses the point. And I didn't know who he was. I don't YouTube shit. So I genuinely was watching it thinking it was a piss take and it was a joke.
Yeah, my comment underneath his video was, it's so brave of you to talk about and pretend to explain something you clearly know nothing about.
Yeah.
Because it is a massive shame. And this is why I linked it as, another reason why normies aren't going to get Bitcoin. Because this is, again, another way that this guy, I don't think he has an agenda, right? I don't think he is one of the big BlackRock guys. He's not a CIA guy. He's not a WEF person. I don't think he has an agenda against Bitcoin. I think he genuinely just got wrecked in crypto. And maybe he also got wrecked in Bitcoin, probably because he tried trading it or something. And he has a massive platform on YouTube.
Yeah, 4 million subscribers. Yeah.
Like 4 million subscribers means that is massive on YouTube. It really is. And hence why he just randomly popped up on my feed, because he has casually explained a number of topics extremely well to me. He's built a platform to describe difficult topics in 10 minutes. And he normally does it in an entertaining way with a bit of comedy and stuff. And then, I don't know, maybe it's one of those where you suddenly realize once you have knowledge of a topic and then you realize, it's like, like when you read in the paper and you think, oh, that article on the war was really good. Oh, this one on the tennis was really good. And then you get to one on, say, football and you realize, oh, they made a load of shit up here. That's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. You go, oh, I have knowledge about this topic and I can call it out because I know it. Why do I automatically believe the one on war and tennis is right? Because the only reason why I assume it is right is because I don't have the knowledge to disprove it. And so I guess that's probably happening kind of here with Casually Explained, where you go, oh, right, the topic he was explaining before to me, I didn't know the detail to be able to debunk it. So the second he entered the Bitcoin realm, clearly, I was going to be able to debunk it. And clearly he's gone from a very negative view, right? He's not positive on Bitcoin at any point through this. He's very negative all the way through. And he even references the Bitcoin ETF and goes, oh, the entire Bitcoin community was cheering on the BlackRock ETF, which is the exact antithesis of what Bitcoin was meant to be. So, square that circle. You just go, dude, there's a little bit of nuance here. Yeah, the odd person was cheering it on, but like we said at the beginning of this, purely for number go up.
Yeah.
We knew it wasn't going to further separating money from state, the exact opposite. But you know what? Short term, number go up. Whoopee. But like to group all Bitcoiners together and go, we were cheering on the BlackRock ETF, and that was like our end goal. Like, fuck off, mate. That is not what we did at all.
That was the bit that really pissed me off. Like that was the edge for me.
Yeah.
I think that was when I stopped. I was like, I'm not listening to this anymore. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But again, that video is going to get millions of views. There's going to be a load of people that were on the edge of buying Bitcoin or not, and then they're going to listen to that and watch that and go, "Oh right, yeah, Bitcoin's a scam. It's pointless." It's so fucking annoying. It's like Bitcoin does genuinely need a marketing department, and we need a CEO. No, we don't. But
it's the network effect,
pumping out better stuff, like.
Yeah, the network effect of that guy. But as we've always said, it's not just one thing with Bitcoin that you need to kind of understand and get. And it's the layering and the blocks and the time. And in this fleeting day and age of where people have very short attention spans, this 10 minutes will be the 10 minutes that they take away when they think of Bitcoin, and they'll look at, again, the 4 million odd viewers that they've got. There's 2,000 plus comments in there, and they'll just be like, oh, write it off.
They'll never do it again as well. So once they write that off, that is now written off in their minds, because this will be the only bit of information they absorb on it, and it's wrong.
Or what it does is it digs them deeper into their belief system of that there is actually value in Bitcoin. So they may have been on the fence, hence the reason why they clicked on the video. And then once they did, they're now further back from getting Bitcoin than they were to actually getting it.
It is just like those. It's just like that though, isn't it? It's like once you discount, like you might have started to discount something in your mind, and then you have something that like reaffirms your view. You will never reopen that book. You'll never reopen that door. You'll not revisit it. Anytime somebody mentions it, you'll dismiss it with this kind of version of what's been said. And like you say, 4 million subscribers, that's millions of people that are going to watch this that will now just go, well, not everybody, because there's 4 people right here that have gone, well, that's bullshit. But the vast majority of people, and back to the point, this is why normies don't buy Bitcoin, the vast majority of people are going to watch that, and that will now become their single source of truth. Need to do a casually explains Bitcoin.
Yeah, we actually do need a channel. Yeah, you almost need to build a channel that just casually explains random things, and then it casually explain Bitcoin like properly.
Yeah, but
yeah, it's so
as we know,
once you get an opinion about a thing, even if it's wrong, it's so hard to undo that. People get so wedded to it. It's like, no, but I'm wrong if I admit that this is now the truth. Just being a blank page and being able to overlay information on you is so much simpler. And after you've listened to that, I just go back to like the dads that I see at sports day and stuff. If they'd watched that, they would come to me with 5 objections, which are super hard to overcome. And I'm like, why do you even have the objections? Like, just be open and let me try and just build from a foundation of 0. Instead, I'm building from a foundation of -20. And I've got to get back to 0, then push through.
Yeah.
It's so damaging, stuff like this. But hey,
There's no balance either. There's not even a little bit of balance in it. Like not even one little iota of balance. Like, yeah.
yeah. And his whole channel is supposed to be just explaining a thing. It's not an opinion on a thing. I'm just explaining it. Yeah, it's like this bottle of whiskey. I'm just going to explain it. I'm not going to sell it to you. I'm just going to say it's glass with whiskey on it with a badge on it, right? That's what he largely does. He doesn't have an opinion. It's just he explains a thing basically as an educational, non-biased point of view. So when I saw Bitcoin, I went, oh, let's see this one. Let's see if he just explains it as opposed to having an opinion. He very clearly had an opinion. It was very anti-Bitcoin. I just remembered another negative point he mentioned that was completely wrong, which was China banned Bitcoin based on its excessive energy use. Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Wrong. I shouted wrong at the phone. Shouted it at the phone. It's like,
what are you saying that China wouldn't do that? They wouldn't ban something which may have undermined their currency.
No, they did it for that reason.
No, they banned it because it took up too much energy.
No, they've never banned anything which would threaten them. Yeah, their energy usage. Instead of making those Sports Direct mugs.
Yeah. Imagine how much like Bitcoin mining was representative of the energy usage in China. It literally would be equivalent to how many Sport Direct mugs they made.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. 0.001%. Anyway, right. Next story. Where are we?
Right,
Drink the shitcoin to tears.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, let's get this in. Let's get this one on the screen. So, it's a good tweet that I found. Yeah, it was today. And yeah, I don't know who the fuck Charles Edwards is. Who's Charles Edwards? Oh, he has 100,000 followers. Congrats, Charles. But yeah, he's getting a bit salty that the only active uses in 2024 is holding Bitcoin. Or meme coin gambling. DeFi is dead. NFT is dead. Cross-chain L2's dead. Gaming dead. Farming dead. ICO's dead. NFT's dead. Supply chain dead. This cycle has been the latest, or has been the least promising cycle for crypto, which I completely agree with. It's it really has been a death knell for crypto this cycle. Hardly anything has got going. Hardly anything has got going. So after 15 years, all we have is Bitcoin store of value. Yep. Always have, always will. That was the only thing. Stable coins. Yep, fine, okay, but it's a hedge, move to fiat quickly. I get that one. And then the futures arbitrage. Yep, fine. And then so yeah, and then obviously in the comments there were just a load of shitcoiners getting very, very salty and trying to defend their random shitcoin, going, no, we've achieved this, we've achieved that, but it's clearly this Charles Edwards guy. I have no fucking clue who he is, but he seems to be yet another kind of slightly reformed shitcoiner going.
But he looks like he's trying to find an excuse to shitcoin.
Yeah, he definitely still is. He definitely still has a bag that he wants to dump. But I think he's coming to the conclusion that, everything we tried to do with shitcoins like DeFi, NFTs, layer twos, gaming, farming, ICOs, supply chain, none of it worked. And the only thing that is still here is Bitcoin.
Art.
Do what?
It isn't art.
It's not a fucking receipt either.
It is my favorite WhatsApp in a group, which was it's art. I need to have a search for that one just so I can pull it out and go, how much your fucking NFT worth, you fucking shitcoiner.
He said that.
It's one of my groups with boyos.
And boyos. Yeah.
Yeah, so
It
I'm gonna have
reminds
to
me,
actually
it reminds me of the stag do that I went on where I think they had like 15 grand of NFTs amongst the two.
Oh yeah. How's that doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Clearly,
remember
like,
that.
yeah. I told them, congrats.
Yeah.
I think they said they put like a grand in, they had 15 grand, and I was like, congrats, like just sell it and buy Bitcoin probably, if I was you. And they went, but bro, like this is if we 10x it one more time, like this is game like life-changing money. I went, you've made 15 grand out of 1 grand, like take your money. You've made it out of picture JPEGs on the blockchain. Like you've made 14 grand out of JPEGs. Just take your money and run as fast as you can to the bank. And I'm almost certain they did not. And they rode it all the way down. I can almost guarantee they made a loss in the end. But hey, I'm just out of touch boomer Bitcoiner, aren't I?
Boomer Bitcoin.
Yeah,
That's literally what they called me. They called me a boomer Bitcoiner.
there's a group of crypto people in work, and they keep on mentioning things like F. I keep on saying you're still shitcoining.
There's actually a crypto group in your work.
Yeah, there's a few people who are like they like having a good chat about it within the sales function, and like one of them, he talks to me and he brings it up and says, "Oh, you're a Bitcoin max." I'm like, you're still shitcoining, aren't you?
Toxic as fuck.
And it's always, oh, made some money, blah blah blah. And I said, you took your money down to the shitcoin casino, got a lucky spin. Let's put it back in and see what you get.
Yeah, keep spinning, baby. Eventually, it lands on zero.
A little green one.
What she
Right.
said.
Oh, where are we up to?
I think we're coming up to.
We know what we're coming up to.
Oh,
The
yes.
sexiest part of the show.
So I'm going to share my screen. The only reason this is on the pod is because we're literally chatting before the pod, and this person randomly followed me. So we figured we would give the fat and virgin Bitcoiner her or his I'm in the fucking spotlight. Because I'm pretty sure this entire account is a troll, but it's funny as fuck. You can be that virgin and sexy.
There's no likes, there's no comments, there's no nothing. We need to hit up this account.
Yeah, it's just looking through
Yeah.
actually.
And then
Oh no,
scroll.
there's one like about that
Oh.
guy dancing on stage.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of like to be fat like me. It's such an inspiration for me. I watch it often to stay motivated to be fat. I'm almost certain this person is a guy and
Yeah.
he's trolling. Yeah. The worst kinds of people are the ones who have their boobs out in public space. Won't happen to me. I'll be forever a virgin, a fat virgin too. Whale emoji. Come on. And
There's some great comments in here. There's Dan Held tried to rizz me up at the conference last year.
It's a slander now. It's a slander.
He wanted to take my virginity away. I said, no, Dan, suck it yourself.
Oh, this is it. Yeah, here it is. Oh, Dan Held and Leia Byrne.
But then there's another post which is about Peter McCormack. So it's I think it's a screenshot one where he's saying, I'm more of a journalist than Tucker, not as famous, but definitely a less captured voice. And then the comments are, this is a journalist that said, get vaccinated, buy BlockFi because it has $5 billion evaluation, buy Ledger, pandemic of being vaccinated. Yes, in a sense, Peter is like a traditional journalist that do zero research and are always wrong. So some great comments. There you go, there's the post. That one's going to get a like, actually.
Yeah, I like it.
There's just so many posts, and obviously no interaction, which is.
Do you count views? Is that what they're counting?
Maybe, yeah, because they've got a lot of views.
I think everyone's just a bit fucking confused.
Yeah.
You need to stop. I'm gonna have to follow this one. See if some shit comes out of it. Got 363 followers.
I know. Well, they're clearly doing the rounds at the moment because they followed me, and obviously it got my attention because I just went fat virgin Bitcoin. And I'm like, hello, wait, what?
Hello.
Look at this.
You tick on my boat. Hello.
Look at it.
Hello.
What is this?
You're right up my alley. Yeah.
What is any of this?
It's a bum check.
I doxed my big ass a long time ago. What? Every tweet ends with a whale emoji. There's not a single fat bird in the world that ends a tweet with a whale emoji. I enjoy a long walk on the beach. Whale emoji. I don't even know who this chick is. I'm pretty sure she's an innocent chick.
Yeah, just getting dumped on that side.
Yeah.
That's just. There's another one. Like I remember using this version of Windows. It was slow. I like to squat very slow at the gym, like this morning. Oh, like this is just fat shaming at this point, isn't it?
So true. Yeah.
It's just I don't know how long this person's been going, but they've been going a while, and they've just got
That's what I mean.
Picture the fat chicks.
Yeah. It's like a fat chick a day.
Oh my God, October 2023. So I don't know why they chose today to follow me. But here they are. I just saw this profile picture and I was like, this profile picture has never followed me on any social network ever. Like a rainbow fucking dress, skinhead woman, fat. It's not my demographic. So the second they followed me, I went, let's have a look at your profile. And I just realized that it was just a bizarre troll account. But I still don't even know what the point is.
No.
Like fat virgin Bitcoin is a woman version. I get it if it was a man version. But the woman version is like.
So it started off Jan 2022. Hi Bitcoin. Hashtag Bitcoin. Help me by telling me which account to follow for more diversity across Bitcoin. I'm here to spread adoption and inclusion with the goal of bringing more women in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced now. This is definitely your soccer account.
Yeah, we need more women in Bitcoin, but also we need more virgin women in Bitcoin to embrace mass adoption. and then the next one is hashtag Bitcoin. What can we do to bring more fat women in Bitcoin? The world needs more super far healthy women in BTC. That's actually it just goes on.
I just love to know what the joke is, other than the fact that it's all funny, but what's the big reveal? Because clearly a guy running this account, right? And he's just posting pictures of fat birds, like going, oh, isn't it great to be fat and a virgin? It's not getting any engagement, but he's still clearly freaking using the account. He followed me today.
Yeah.
And I haven't tweeted for about 2 weeks and he followed me.
Probably shown up on some algorithm and he's just gone, oh, I'll have a bit of that.
Yeah.
I got a picture of Daniel Craig down in whiskey as on a layer cake. So maybe he likes a bit of that. But yeah, there we go. That's this week in Bitcoin.
Finished off with the fat virgin Bitcoiner.
How does it get any better from here? It doesn't. So we'll end it here. So that was Pod 146, brought to you by Mr. Olin, aka the $1 Trillion Man, Dr. Evil 10%, aka the People's Champ, myself, Sir Neverlook, aka the Excellence of Execution, and Mrs. No Show, aka No Show, but here for this show. Peace.